introduction and some top uses of basil essential oil. If you haven't tried it yet, it is a strong one. When using any essential oils, we want to make sure that we have a quality source and that the essential oil has been properly tested for contaminants and adulterants. So according to Aromatic Plant Research Center, over 90% of essential oils on the market are adulterated. What that means is that the essential oil is cut with something else. This can be a synthetic product or another filler to make it cheaper and make more money to make profit, essentially. But as well, there is a high likelihood of contamination in essential oils unless it's properly cultivated, sourced, and distilled, etc. A common thing can be pesticides and herbicides, some toxic material in the actual essential oil. So we want to make sure none of that is in there. So go to the essential oil, I don't have basil with me right now, but at the bottom you will find a batch number. And you can look up, if you have the doTERRA's sourced to you, and you can look for third-party testing for that batch. And it'll give you the third-party testing for the oil that's in your bottle, so you know that it's clean. It'll tell you. There's no other company that I am aware of currently that does that right now. A lot of the testing results that I've seen on other websites are very dated and aren't necessarily from the bottle you have, which is a little deceiving, unfortunately. I hate to see that. Okay, let's get into basil. We don't want any yucky weird chemicals in it, so make sure you have a trusted source. And anyhow, when you have a pure source, it's a hell of a lot more effective, and it's a lot cheaper because you buy a bottle and you barely need any, especially when it comes to basil, because basil is potent. It is so potent of an oil, you barely need any when you're using it. So some of the top uses are when somebody is really, really stressed, so a type of adrenal fatigue, it's great support for that. So what I recommend using it for that is actually diluting it with some fractionated coconut oil and rubbing it over the adrenals. I've actually made roller bottles to support my adrenals with different blends of oils, including basil, and you can rub it over your adrenals. So this is usually for an adult, and then just roll that on. Any kind of muscle spasms, aches and pains and tension can be great for like head tension right here, for menstrual cramps, for any kind of other muscle spasms. Again, diluted with some fractionated coconut oil, maybe some of your other oils that you like marjoram or lavender, depending on what's going on. And you can dilute it and rub it on the area of disc for ear aches. So if you wake up in the middle of the night and there's somebody in the household or yourself that has like an ear infection or earache and everything is closed, actually I recommend this even in the middle of the day. You can take a little drop of basil or tea tree and lavender and rub it around the ears, not in the ear canal. You never want to put oils in the ear canal, but around the ears, and let it sit for about 12 hours. And that usually helps a lot, relieves a lot. Basil is great for any kind of ear aches and ear infections and things like that. Of course, if it's severe, then go see your doctor, but this is a great tool that you can have at your home with basil. Nausea, stomach cramps, things like that, basil is really nice. So again, you would want to dilute it in fractionated coconut oil and rub it on the area. So muscle spasms, nausea, cramps, things like that. And also aches and pains in the joints. Basil can also be taken internally. Again, this is only for a tested grade oil. You don't want to be using just anything out on the market because we don't know what's actually in the bottle, and we want to be safe. For your safety, use something that has been tested. And not lastly, actually, a couple more things. Basil is a wonderful insect repellent. So if you have a garden or a patio garden or something like that, you can create a spray bottle with some basil essential oil and maybe some other oils mixed in, maybe some peppermint, arbovitae, and it's great as a bug, snake, spider repellent on your plants. On an emotional level, it is regenerating, uplifting, and stimulating. And if you're feeling inundated and overwhelmed, basil gives us a sense of relief. It's refreshing and uplifting, and it gives us that sense of relief. I also enjoy using basil in recipes. Mind you, if you're going to use a potent oil like basil in a recipe, you have to use a very, very small amount at first because it can overwhelm the flavor of your dish. If you're making a pesto, right, and you want to, maybe you don't have enough basil leaves, or you just want to spread the taste, make it a little punch the flavor, you can use a bit of basil essential oil. What I recommend doing is just putting 1 drop in your spoon, and then taking that drop from your spoon, just take a Q-tip and dip it in your dish, stir it, taste it, see what it's like. If you need to add another Q-tip amount, then do that. Or you can find recipes online. Just make sure that you're using the doTERRA essential oil because it's much more potent than many others out there, and it's not diluted. So basil blends really great with bergamot, which I'm going to talk about next, lime essential oil, Litsea, and peppermint. So those are some great blends with it. I also, as a side note, one of my favorite blends using basil, other than the top uses I described, are for mental clarity and mental fatigue and ability to focus. So if you need some help with focus, basil is a nice one to add to your blend. So you could add it with some peppermint or spearmint, some frankincense, and rosemary is great for memory and focus. Make your own roller blend and use it while you need to focus or concentrate. That's what I got today. Hopefully I covered all the top uses for everyone, and if you have any questions or if you want to know any more, send me a message and ask me some questions.